From 2020 up until 2021, I got into 3-4 relationships.
They will call that serial.
And the 4 relationships, they ended. Very bad endings. I had a full-time employment. I had a contractor role. I was making like $1 million. Your life can actually go from 0 to 100, because I'm also thinking back, like in 2021, I was at like 0. So I was not going to amount to anything at all. My life was literally ending. Marriage was out of the picture. If at all anything, it was to go all out with my career, make something out of myself. I then came across your video and you just put to words things like I was struggling to. And the video was so simple, but you know when someone is saying something to you and you get the message clearly, that was how that video was to me. And the urge to just leave a comment was so strong. See, I never imagined marrying an influencer. I know you say we should stop calling influencer, but you're an influencer. Like when we talk about our journey, like where we started from, it gets me very emotional. It gets me very, very emotional, because I'm just like, God, see, if you have sense, you cannot work with God though. Being with you sort of has been like a catalyst.
We met and 6 days I proposed. A month later we had introduction. 6 months later we had, court wedding, and then 9 months. So it was just a 9-month period. For me, I think what I'm really looking forward to with this conversation is being able to go back in time and see how things have changed, how all of these things came to be. And I think my most interesting part would be telling the story of not how we met now, but how we both were getting prepared unknowingly for the meeting.
Hey stranger.
Who is your stranger? Okay, quick one. When I first told you that I'm starting a new podcast and it will be called Figuring Life Out, what did you think?
I was like, Dimitri has come again.
What do you mean come again?
Dimitri, you always have new ideas. Every tutu, like, every Eke market day.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's a book I read when I don't know, I think it's a slang or something. Every Eke market day, like, frequently you come up with like new stuff. But when you said you were starting this podcast again, I think I was excited, to be honest.
Why?
It's something that, first, I feel like we know a lot of people, and you also have a lot of experiences that people should hear about.
Right.
So I saw this whole idea of a podcast. It would be nice to just air your views, invite other people that you think are cool on.
Oh, because you're the first person. Well, officially you're my first guest. And there's a reason for that. I kept thinking to myself when this whole podcast idea started, and it was like, a lot of people have been wanting to know more into my life after all of the creative stuff, Instagram and the rest. And then all of a sudden, I got married, and now I have a child. And it's like, there's never been a space where people know all of these things. I mean, the goal is not really to tell people about it.
Like people know the process, or like the process behind the results. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And
I feel like a lot of people have questions for you and me.
Well, so we can try. It's a conversation, just don't get it wrong. It's a conversation. Don't think of it as a podcast. It's a conversation. And for me, I think what I'm really looking forward to with this conversation is being able to go back in time and see how things have changed, how all of these things came to be. And I think my most interesting part would be telling the story of not how we met now, but how we both were getting prepared unknowingly for the meeting. Yeah. So,
makes sense. I feel like for me, I know you said, I'm very happy that we're having this conversation today, because I've had a very, very interesting day. So this is my own space to sort of relax, exhale. And I also realized something about myself. You also used to say it when, like, sometime last year, I'm this kind of person that is always in the present. Like, I'm just, as it's happening, I'm just following through. And there's almost no time to, like, reflect and even be grateful for, like, the hurdles, the challenges, the new beginnings, stuff like that. So I feel like having this conversation with you today, with Ira in bed, like it's just going to be a good space for us to just have fun, share, talk, and relax.
All right, so speaking of fun, what's the most fun you've had this week?
The most fun I've had this week.
You have to think about it.
And nothing comes to my mind. You see what I say about me being in the present.
Yeah.
What's the most fun you've had this week?
It was Monday, and
Monday.
yeah, Monday, and I got 3 projects completed in one day.
That's not fun.
It has never happened before. No, like in recent times, it has never happened before where I'll wake up and then be able to get all of these things done. And then I started waking up 5 o'clock, 5:30. That has been cool. Like, in time passed.
It's been shocking to me that George is actually waking up before me.
Well, I'm a changed man.
I hope this behavior has come to stay.
Let's hope so. As long as you're not watching John Jenga. By the way, yeah. So I would never have thought about myself being somebody who would be watching Korean drama. Yeah. And then I've gotten to a place where you pretty much just
You watched Vincenzo.
Yes, because that is, it was like fights, there was...
And now you're watching Alchemist. Which is funny because people have forgotten about Alchemist.
So I think the reason why I wait on things, I'm not always excited about things everybody's talking about, is like, I'm like, what's the force? Because of that, I don't want to get involved. It's like a bandwagon and I don't want to join that. But then...
Okay.
And I don't like that thing of being...
Uncle Elite.
No, there's not that. I don't like that thing of being...
Flower boy.
Please be serious. I don't like that thing of being under pressure because of something that they're releasing every week. What is that?
I watched it when... I watched it before. I was under a lot of pressure. Like, I'll not be on Twitter, just digging and digging and digging to find every possible information. Like, gosh, it's such a mess. But I'm happy that you're watching. You would enjoy it, trust me.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it. And subconsciously, it's given me this nostalgic feeling of 2021, 2022. And I'll be very specific why I said that. So around that time, I was living, we had the design studio in Ibadan. And one of the guys was always talking about Alchemy of Souls. And at some point, this guy had a very not so great experience with the old NSARS and all of that. And then just seeing that excitement with this new thing. It was like,
the movie or series, sorry.
Okay. So it just made me remember all the things that sort of happened from 2020 up until, like, I'm thinking about it now, like, it's been 4 years.
Yeah.
My life has gone from, like, it has really changed. And I'm just very curious, for you, what was 2021 like after all of the drama of NSARS?
Yeah, so a lot of drama for me, to be honest. So many relationships, like from 2020 up until 2021, I got into technically 3-4 relationships.
They will call that serial. A serial data.
And the 4 relationships, they ended, all the 4 of them, very bad endings. So ended relationships, and in 2021 was almost like a plateau, even with career, because in 2021, I was working, I had a full-time employment, I had a contractor role, 2 contractor roles actually. And how old was I? I can't remember. How old was I in 2021?
Maybe 19?
Yeah. No.
20,
How would I be? No.
2021. Okay, you're 22.
Yeah. As a 22-year-old
Wait,
girl.
22, you're working 2 jobs?
3.
You just said 2.
Like a full-time role and 2 contracts. So I was working.
Please tell me you saved billions.
I didn't save anything, my dear. I saved nothing. So the 3 jobs, I was making like $1 million.
Together?
Yeah.
In 2020?
In 2021. I was making like $1 million.
I mean, that wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad at all. I wasn't paying rent. I didn't have like bills.
So what did you use all the money for?
If I say I remember, I don't know. We'll get into my finance much later. We'll get into my financial situation much later, but that was it. Yeah, I mean, I was just a very bad spender. Yeah, I was a very bad spender. So, 2021, things were beginning to just...
Plateau.
Yeah, and I wasn't quite comfortable with that. I'd made up my mind at this point that I wasn't going to think about marriage or bother myself about it, especially because there was a guy who like we're in a relationship and he came to see my parents and I thought it was very stressful. It made me
that's bold.
It made me go to his parents. Like I literally went all the way to
Wait, so was it like introduction kind of a thing or just like meet my friend?
So I thought it was like I would know the official introduction.
But
that like okay, this person is serious with me and
like a declaration of intent kind of a thing.
Exactly. Apaz.
It was just vibes.
Not just vibes. He had a lot of doubts about himself and about the relationship. So he wanted a case where his parents could vet.
Who is getting married to? Or whoever is bringing up?
Yeah. If they could vet and sort of maybe they're not sure. I don't know.
So I'm sort of guessing right now because I don't know the entirety of this story because we've never really like gone deeper into it. When you just mentioned, I was like, yeah, anything in the past is in the past. But it's sort of sensing like this guy wants to have an excuse to be able to maybe push you away. So if his parents say, no, we don't like her.
Exactly.
And then we fall into...
Yeah. That's
what happened.
That was sort of... I'm not completely sure, but you are not far from the truth. That's what I would say. Or I would like to, because that's what I think. Because at the end of the day, when we broke up, I don't want to go into the gist of like everything. But at the end of the day, when the relationship ended, I ended it because of things I mean, like very bad behavior on his part. And then he started to open up to me about the fact that he actually never really liked me. And I'm like, so why did you ask me out? Why did you come and see my parents? In fact, it was when he came to see my parents, I knew that I was very unserious because he was like, because I think my mom or my dad asked him like, so why are you doing here or something like that? And I was like, well, or they asked him when he wanted to get married and he was like, when he's 35 or something like that. They're like,
was he up to 25 then?
He wasn't, it was not, but he wasn't up to 30. And then, or maybe we just done 30, I can't remember. So they go, okay, so why did you now come to see us now? It's like, well, he just wanted to just come and see them so that they just know him.
See me sipping tea, this is good tea. No, I mean the
I know. And then it goes, so that they just know him, so it won't like be like sometime in the future, just come and steal their daughter and like, so it was just very funny. And when, I'm paraphrasing, like I can't say what he said word for word, but when he just spoke, you know when you are very clear,
it's like,
this person's not serious.
No red flag, no.
That's how I felt, but I still wanted to push it, like, am I a joker? Like
what's really going on?
Yeah. And then at the end of the day, there was somebody else he really liked, I think, that he really liked.
Wait, hope he didn't cheat.
He did.
Leave this tea for... No, I'll see it later. Let's not go on about it. But, I mean, your 2021 seemed chaotic.
Yeah, very chaotic. And, one part I almost left out. With all of this drama going on, I was like, you know what? Let me just get out of this space. Like, let me move to a new space. Let me have breathe new air. Let me sort of start working globally, internationally, blah, 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 blah. So I started applying for roles abroad, like remote roles. I'll get to the interview stage. The job will fall out of the radar. I even applied for a technician. That's Global Talents now. I applied for that later in the year. I wasn't given. And the excuse was so silly. they said I wrote my references, and I appealed that because obviously I didn't write my references. They can contact the references and stuff like that.
Appealing something like that is always not a good move.
They came back with the fact that, yeah, we actually hear you. We believe you. You actually didn't write these references.
Okay.
But initially, you were not even supposed to get these endorsements.
They've gone to do extra digging.
Because they went to dig up, and then they brought up a lot of doubt around my work, brought up a lot of doubt. They just picked different things and made a case out of it. Things that are very funny, because there was a time the person was like, oh, I'm working in marketing and comms, but then I was positioning myself as a health tech leader. I'm like... Anyway, it just became clear to me at the end of 2021 that my life is ending and I literally don't know what to do. That's where I was. And
that's a real shocker.
And it was just really bad, because stepping into 2022, wow, your life can actually go from 0 to 100. Because I'm also thinking back, like in 2021, I was at like 0. I thought I was not going to amount to anything. I thought my life was literally ending. You know, marriage was out of the picture. If at all anything, it was to go all out with my career, make something out of myself. And here we are.
You know what's funny?
2 years later.
I was a Vision 2020 guy, right? So during NYSC, I would tell the people I was serving doing NYSC with, you know, I served as evangelism secretary in Ondo State. And I'll just tell them casually that, yeah, I'm getting married 2020. But then 2020 came and it was a mess with the way the world just, you know, locked up and so many different things happening. So for me, I was just like, thank God, God has given me another chance to build up and stack up my self-esteem, my bank account, you know, get better projects and all of that. I left Ondo State in 2018 and I went straight to Lagos. In my head, I was like, I'm going to go and, you know, at least live like an adult, do what they do in life. And I'd saved up a lot of money from NYS and also freelancing.
Yeah.
And then, to my greatest surprise, everything I saved up for 1 year, I spent half of it in less than a month in Lagos. My head just opened. I was like, what? I ran back to Ibadan. Because there was a house in Ibadan. There were 3 rooms free. So I just went back and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stay here, try and build something and see let me just try, right? And that was the time I dropped architecture. After spending 6 years
studying,
I dropped architecture. I practiced for some 3 years and then just dropped it. And, you know, things just started looking up a little bit. 2019 was that year. It was really good. You know, my Pexels account was growing. People were reaching out to me for, you know, photography and all of that. You know, people were sending in donations. And then I got my biggest client then through Pexels. So it was like,
ooh,
my goodness, this year.
Yum.
And then 2020 came and everything just went like, it was a nosedive. It didn't occur to me what was really happening, but I tried to use that year to wait on God and pray. I wasn't praying don't think I was praying about life partner, no. I was praying about like, God, what's next? Give me clarity about what my future really holds. So spending all of 2020 praying, 2021 came and it was like a breakout year. That was when I started working with brands. I started doing a lot of speaking engagements. Things just started really working out fine.
Looking up.
But that was at the start. By the end of 2021, I was pretty much back to zero. And what happened? I got robbed. They took away my devices. And I disconnected from the entire world. Like I was off social media, off everything, WhatsApp for like some 4 months. Yeah, I completely went away. I was just doing my own thing. And that was when I knew that, you know what, 2022 must be the year again.
Where things would look up.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it feels like it's been it's like That's what it looks like.
As they say, our God is the God of the hills and valleys. No,
Oh, man, this one is more than hills and valleys. It was... Because you can imagine going from making £7,000 dollars from one project
to zero.
To making nothing for 6 months. Like, it's that bad. But then, yeah, I mean, we'll get back to all of this. So, if there's been one way you realize that, okay, I think where I'm at right now, I think I need to change. You know, you talked about changing scenery and all of that. What really happened?
So, at that time, the best thing I could think of was going to Abuja. I cannot go to London.
Technician said no.
Technician said no. But what's interesting, like, forgive me if I'm like jumping or going way past. What I look back now and I just see is how the months that I've been with you for, they've been very transformative for me. Because I'm looking back, if I had gotten that technician, where am I going to?
I mean, you'll be here and you'll be single. No shades.
No. Like, actually correct. I'll be here, I'll be single. Nobody talks a lot about what happens when you actually relocate. I don't envy people that relocate alone. It's not the best. And I'm not even talking about relocating. I'm talking about the other things that come with relocating. Like, how would I have gotten a job? Do you get? So I feel like having someone that you work with sort of helps in a way. Do you get? But as I said, just wanted to throw that out to you that, look, you're a transformer.
No, I'm not. God is a transformer. I think I was merely just a vessel to be there and encourage.
Yeah, being with you sort of has been like a catalyst in this whole transformative journey, like, and stuff. So back to 2022.
2022.
So I decided that I was going to move out of Lagos because in faith, that I actually even packed my box. Like, oh God, this technician will work out. I'm going to London. Jesus. You say that in your word that if I ask, I'm going to receive, Lord Jesus. And then I used to pray with my uncle, one of my uncle, like every night to be praying. When this whole thing happened with technician, I told him, he said, I don't think God is telling. I said, no, sir. You cannot be saying that. For the Lord has told me, the Lord says that He will give me my heart desires. That wherever the sole of my feet shall step, He will give it to me as my inheritance. He says that if I ask for nations...
Don't go too far preaching.
I mean, these are all the Bible scriptures. I was I said, in faith, Lord, I packed all my things. I packed every single thing. Packed up my room. As they slapped me the second slap, I was like, oh God. January, I don't even know what to do with myself. February, I was like, maybe I should actually think of going to Abuja. And then by March, this was before my birthday, like around the 2nd or 3rd, I just felt this nudge in my spirit
to go.
Yeah.
I think at about that same time, I'll just backtrack a little bit. So 2022 started on a very high note. There was this energy.
Ooh.
And usually my birthday is January 10.
Yeah.
So yeah, that, it feels exciting. Like, it's my birth month, it's the start of the year. Let's go and get it. And I was actively, pumping out content on Instagram. That was when
your funny days, the magic
that was the skit days. But out of nowhere, there was just this very strong urge. Talk about existential crisis. Man, I'm like, what? Like, normally people would watch my content like Dimeji talking about, being single, talking about Japa, talking about
Nepa.
And then all of a sudden it's like existential crisis. And my content is always based on what God is leading me to talk about. So I almost denied this one because I felt like I'm not going through this. So why am I talking about it? I usually speak from experience or current,
Things
encounters.
happening
So I'm
around
like,
you.
Okay, no problem. So
Now that you said this, I'm even curious. You made one video where you were like, people will be talking, your phone is 1% and the phone will die.
oh yeah, I used to do that a lot.
Who were you chatting with that your phone will get to 1% and you forget to charge it to not die?
Just using the phone, like just pressing stuff.
Confess.
Don't be jealous. And I did not know you then, so what's wrong with you? Plus, you're my only relationship. I never had any. So yeah, count yourself lucky.
Lucky. Yeah, I feel like so Dimeji had a lot of firsts with me. First flights.
Yeah.
First abroad trip.
I mean, thinking about all of that.
Okay, no, we'll go back to Existential crisis.
Okay.
We'll come back.
So January 8th, that word came. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll try something out. I didn't. My birthday came January 10. Something was pressing in my heart at that same point, but I just discarded it. And then next night, I'm realizing is we usually do this thing in the studio in the battle where
on your birthday.
Yeah, anyone's birthday really.
I think I've heard you talk about this before.
Yeah, we would spotlight the person, and everybody will be sitting around and the person is in the middle, and then we start throwing the person fire questions. What do you want to do with your life? What's up for this year? When are you getting married? So Toby just asked. For Dimeji, the way we would say, when are you getting married now? And when I was like, Toby, this year is not for marriage, this year is for making money. I was like, with all your Instagram people that used to reach out to you, I'm like, no, this year is for being serious, making money, pushing O&E forward. I was like, okay. And then I started visiting Lagos consecutively. One speaking engagement, or it to be somebody's inviting me to do a podcast. So I was traveling a lot within the first 3 months. But then March 7, that same word came back again. Talk about this thing. I'm like, so I made a video, and then with a trending sound, but I just shut. I was like, I don't think this thing is right. And then I made a carousel and just posted that one. People were talking about it. It was seeming like, okay, something is happening. And then Mother's Day came. I did the Mother's Day post. And for the next 2 days, I could not post anything.
It was on your mind.
Because that thing was so strong on my mind. So that day I just woke up 7 a.m. Normal me will post around 9. 7 a.m. I just posted the video.
Yeah, you sure. You mostly post around 9.
I posted the video.
Or 8. This day has been 8.
Yeah, I posted the video and I just left. Usually I would leave Instagram for like 4 hours and then come back. By the time I got back to my phone was hot because notifications were coming in. Poop, poop. I was like, what's going on? The first time I've ever experienced this, the first time I ever experienced this was one viral video. I'm an introvert, I'm not shy. But then this one was different because in 4 hours, that's gathered over 300k views.
That's large.
That's
huge.
Okay. What's going on? So I started going
Convert that to pounds.
Comments. I started going through the comments. And in the comments, I was seeing people saying, this is my life. I feel like this. It makes sense. And all of that. I can't go through 800 comments. So I was just like, okay, no problem. I was actually really excited that, yes, I listened to God and this thing is happening. People were following me. I was seeing, anytime I open Instagram, I will see 100. That thing, you have this eye. And then I just opened one comment and I see, what's even the point of being here? Let me just go and meet Jesus. The first thing that came to my mind was suicide. Why? Because I'm a counselor. And anytime I'm counseling people, I sort of try and ask the Holy Spirit to just help me. And I've had a suicide case before. This guy had been contemplating it for like a long time. So I don't joke with words like that. So when I saw it, I was like, come on. I just engaged that comment immediately.
And guess what the comments was from?
You. And I was like, there's a reason why you're still here. If there's no reason, God won't keep you here. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then we started sharing more comments.
And then you just
And
said,
the next thing, I saw a DM. So
asleep.
I really want to right now, I really want to understand what was really going through your mind at that time.
So I'll just put this out there. You were not my kind of guy.
Ouch. Well, there's evidence now, sir.
But for real, like, I at the time you had a lot of followers now. Maybe like 30.
Yeah, 30, 40K.
Like, how is someone that has 30, 40K respond to my comments? I don't used to comment on people's posts on Instagram. I don't used to like. I'll just be scrolling past like this. Like, because I don't even know why I do that nonsense thing where I literally, it's until something really touches me before I like engage. And this is a girl that has not been able to put to words all of her emotions. Like, I just know that I'm stuck. I feel like I'm faced with a wall, and I've tried my best to hit the wall. It's not just coming down. And I'm like, what's the point of living? Not like I wanted to commit suicide, but I just felt like life is actually very worthless, because the only thing that makes sense is God. And then there's this whole talk around God coming back. Like, I want him to come back now, because I cannot keep laboring and like doing stuff on earth that literally there's no gain. I don't know if you cry today, God, I want a good job. The job comes, they will stress you out. Every day is not going to be amazing. You trust God, oh God, I want to get married. Oh, my wedding dress.
If you wake your ear up.
You're like, oh God, I want to get married, blah, 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 blah. By the time you get married, in that marriage, you realize that, oh God, Dimeji, oh, Moke, oh, Ire, like, so many things will just come in. And I was just like, there's no point of building anything on earth. Let's just go to heaven, right? And then I see, I wasn't following you at the time. I've seen some of your content, but I don't know, just never like reached out, or we just never had a relationship or anything. But obviously, like, we had mutuals like Salem King, Bolaji Billions, Blessing Abeng,
Dimeji. Dimeji.
It's true, Dimeji stories. Yeah. So yeah, we had like all those mutuals, but like,
So, interesting bit, right? My podcast, The Simple Creative, the very first one I started. By the way, I this is my fourth podcast. The first one was
serial podcaster.
The first one was Simple Creative, and it was just a give back to the community, share experiences, interview people who were creative and doing amazing things in their space. And when I was shuffling people I wanted to interview for the season 3, I think. Yeah, I sort of stumbled on your page, and that was when I saw all of those.
What year was this?
Maybe it was 2020, 2021. I saw Scribble. I saw that intro video for Scribble.
Error.
Then I saw all of those. You were doing some series with. You did one interview with Blessing Abeng, with Salem.
With Princess Adu.
And then there was one that. Maybe you, Pista Timmy, and a few people were in one event together. So I'm like, okay, she's part of all of this, Instagram creators thing. I was like, okay, maybe. But then I just never continued. Like, I was like, Then COVID had happened.
I was hot in the market.
It was hard to get people to come to my space to do recordings and all of that.
I was hot in the market.
Yeah.
I feel you. I was hot in the market that year. Thank God you message me. So, as I was saying, I then came across your video, and you just put to words things I was struggling to And the video was so simple. But you know when someone is saying something to you and you get the message clearly, that was how that video was to me. And I don't even know. The urge to just leave a comment was so strong. See, I never imagined marrying an influencer. I know you say we should stop calling influencer, but you're an influencer.
What am I influencing?
Dimeji, is Google sending me package? Have I worked with Fiverr? No, answer me. Have I worked with Coursera?
Those are partnerships.
Potato.
I get it. I'm not an influencer. But all of these things happen. And I just really enjoy making sure that the products I use or the things I sort of see that are good, recommend it to other people. So influencer, content creator, whatever it is. Yeah, I don't like titles.
So I feel you, but like, back to what I was saying, I just never imagined that, I will be with someone like you. Which has its good and bad, to be honest. But at that time when I left the comments, it was a very impulsive behavior. Like, I really resonated with this and I couldn't hold back my thoughts and I just left it. And I realized that you responded to the comments, which I was like, okay. I was taking that back. I was like, okay. If someone like this responds to my comments. And then I noticed that a lot of people would be able to see in the comments, which is why
trail.
I then sent a DM.
Regardless, you DM'd me first.
Have it your way. But I would say, like, after sending that DM, a couple of weird things now started happening.
Weird?
Yeah.
Like what?
Like how we're talking like we've known each other for ages.
I mean, the first day we spoke from that DM into like some 3 hours text. Yeah. It didn't feel usual for me.
Yeah, it wasn't usual.
I'm honestly, like, I've never had a relationship, so it just felt like, okay, I'm just vibing with this person. It's interesting. Okay, nice. Nothing ever occurred to me.
And for me, I was already in Abuja at the time. And I was just taking a walk. And I just had in my spirit, like, what if this is your husband? Oh, no, not if this is your husband. Like, you meet your husband in Abuja.
Well, mine was that night, March 8th. I still remember. Yeah, I still remember. I wanted to go and sleep, but then I started praying, and then I was studying this Joshua 1, and then they talked about some part of, as for me and my house, we'll serve the Lord, Yeah, and I was just praying that, as for me and my house. And the next thing I heard was, this is it, don't miss it. I knew what that was, but I played dumb. I was like, this is what? And I went to go and sleep. Next day, I saw a DM. And I'm like, okay, you texted again. And then we just kept on. And then we were talking about how you were trying to go and
Abuja,
you moved to Abuja, looking for a house. Sent me one downcasted selfie, like...
Which would even tell you that I was actually not looking for anything at that point. Because if, like, you need to go and ask of me from all those my Lagos exes. Like, I would do my makeup would be on fleek, I would do my nails, I would dress really well, wear my heels, take the Uber to the fancy restaurants, like, I've always been very fancy-ish. But, like, honestly, I was at my very low moments. Do you know I used to be looking for a house? I was house hunting. It was the ghetto. Like, myself and my dad were going up and down because I really didn't want to stay in the house. I wanted my own space. I was looking for places. There was one place I saw. It was a nice service apartment.
It was expensive? Abuja.
It was really expensive. It was really pricey. I can't remember how much I said I was going to be paying, but it was a very nice... It was not even like... It was like an Airbnb. So they wanted to be charging me like a day rate.
Oh, right.
I was like, this is not sustainable. Do you get?
Well, if you had been saving up all of those money,
True, but that was it. To be fair.
So yeah, I
just go vibing.
Yeah, so I saw that DM. I was like, okay, and then I was sharing with you of how I was setting up my apartment.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
doing furniture hunting and all of that.
You sent, was it a blue furniture?
Yeah, I sent a couple of furniture, we just got talking, and then next thing, I shared photos of me and of my nephews because they came to my place. And then next thing is you go, oh, I love kids, but I don't want to have any.
Really?
And I don't think I'll be getting married.
I said that.
Like, in my head, I'm like, what I heard last night just came back ringing. I was like, God, you said, but then now she's saying, oh man, I don't like these kind of things. And I just kept my cool because I was like, I don't know what this is. So let me just keep it going. Let me keep it going. And something it was like a eureka moment, like a light bulb moment. At least find a way to at least talk better, not this Instagram. So first day you had sent me your Notion workspace where you.
Why did I even send that to you?
I think you were talking about how the reason for your name and how everything came to be, and I'm like, okay. So you shared that, and I was reading. I was like, oh,
my
she can use Notion. Okay.
Do you know one thing
Smart.
do you know one thing I'm also picking out from everything that you've said so far? So when it comes to like relationships and like people wanting to get married, I noticed that we're very
almost like wanting to be structured.
Yes, to be structured, and at the end of the day, we end up being very superficial because you have these checklists. So I feel like both of you, both the guy and the lady, they're coming together, and then they're very strategic. Right. You know what you want from this relationship, and you don't want to mess it up. In our case, it was like high school lovers. Like, you have nothing to lose, you have nothing to gain. You just want to be friends with. We were even thinking about friendship at that point.
It was just like people just talking on Instagram.
And then we were able to like discuss really deep things.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when
there was no, this girl is fine, because I didn't even have pictures on my Instagram. No. There was no, oh my God, this guy is handsome.
Yeah, you had archived everything.
Oh yeah, I archived all the posts.
And then, I'm just like, okay, cool. I really love the way you use Notion. Would you mind putting me through? That was what I said. And that was my own genuine approach to want to at least get to talk to you beyond the social space. So, if we're like, oh, are you on iMessage? I was like, oh yeah, sure. By the way, this whole iMessage thing, I'd never used an iPhone before in my life until November 2021. I just said, you know what? I've been using, like, I got robbed. I'm coming fresh out of, losing all my devices.
Let me just switch.
Just buy iPhone.
Because it's true, you've always been a Pixel person.
Yeah, so.
And now you're back to Pixel.
Yeah, so I got an iPhone. And, iMessage, all of those things. I never used it. Like, I never used it. And they were like, oh, are you on iMessage? I was like, yes, I'm on iMessage. And then we did FaceTime.
Yeah.
And then we started talking. And yeah, apparently my Notion story worked.
At that point, honestly, it was such a good way to ask for my phone number. Like, my man was there. I was just like, okay, he wants me to walk him through, obviously. Like, and we could skibidi.
What's that one? I don't know that one. I don't know.
Skibidi something. Skibidi toilet. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's like a Gen Alpha
language. Slangs.
So, something else that really that happened that I feel like I need to talk about is, as the conversations kept going, right, you started to say things that were very deep, which is why I say about how it's important to sort of not just focus on the superficial things. Okay, where do you work? Did I ever ask you that?
I didn't have a job. I've never been employed. I was freelancing.
Jesus.
And then started a design school, then started a design agency, and was still freelancing. And then I'm now a full-time creator. So the only time I had a job was architecture.
Yeah, internship-ish.
Yeah, and that was like...
It makes, so back to what I was saying, like, I didn't even, people, where do you work? What do you do? So if you are planning for a wedding, how much can you afford? How many countries have you been to? How many children do you want to have? I've
only been to Abuja. Lagos.
So,
But my mind had traveled everywhere.
yeah.
Like I explore a lot.
Yeah, I joke about the fact that I feel like this UK life and this abroad-ish.
I was prepared for it in my head.
It's for you.
I mean, architecture made me do a lot of research.
Yeah.
Studied cities, studied cathedrals, studied master plans of countries.
Which is what interests you, design.
Yeah.
How the building. Skibidi.
Maybe on one of these episodes, I'll talk about my Cocoa House encounter that shaped my life.
Oh, yeah.
And
The Cocoa House and Coca-Cola.
No, Cocoa House.
Where would Cocoa? In Ibadan?
Yeah. So, like, my dad and I were driving to Cocoa House, and I pointed at the building. I was like, one day I'm going to do something like this.
Waiting for your architecture days.
They're coming. Glory days.
Glory days.
That's when my I want a stomach shabbo. Maybe when my stomach is full.
So I was going to talk about how, like, you were starting to say things that were very deep for me. Because there was the time I went through like a Bible school, and then they taught us about prototypes and all of that good stuff. So I knew that I had 2 prototypes, but I only knew one. I didn't know the second. I wasn't sure who I was, but I had clues, but I wasn't just sure who I was. And one day, I think I was talking about marriage, and then one of my older friends, she goes, "Oh, why are you talking about marriage? Blah, 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 blah. I think you should focus on knowing more about yourself, like even knowing what your prototype is before you then focus on like marriage or something like that." So I prayed to God, I was waiting. And at the end of the day, I just told myself that, see, I'm not even going to disturb my head about this thing again. My husband would know my second prototype.
So what if your husband was a goofhead and did not take Bible study seriously?
To be fair, like, it wasn't things that...
It was just like, you just said it out of your head. Like,
like things like that. And when I pray, I noticed that a lot of times we pray for God to move mountains and shake things. We really cry out to God, which is okay. But there's also this thing of communicating and like just...
like your heart just sips out that word.
Yeah. Like...
I think we experience it sometimes where, I mean, most people do. You're singing a song in your heart, and then I sing that song out.
And you're like...
Or you're thinking of something in your head, and then I say it out.
Yeah. So that's how it was, right? That was kind of like a prayer I said. You know, when I even think back to my uni days, when I was studying microbiology in Babcock, it just comes like, I just say, God, this secret, this thing I did is so bad. There's no way I'm going to open my mouth and tell my husband. Can you please, Holy Spirit, tell him for me?
And then there I am, 2017, dreaming about that thing. I didn't, like, till today, I can't explain how I had that dream. And I woke up and I started praying. God, I know this has happened, but just have mercy. Just have mercy. Just have mercy. Like, that was literally what I was praying about. And then the day we were in the car in Ibadan, and then you were trying to tell me that heavy confession. And in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, I know about it. God told me.
God, that day I just broke down crying because I was like, first I was like, God, what kind of... Because prior to this time, right, I wasn't confident in my decision. Like, I wasn't confident that... Like, I knew that God had told me that you were my husband because, as I said, you were just saying a lot of things that I would tell God in passing. God, let my husband tell me this, let my husband tell me that. And the one that sort of was the strong foundation we built on was on the 5th day when we started talking, I just said in my heart that, God, this man is saying a lot of things that I have said to you that I want my husband to say to me. But I don't want to get into a relationship. Plus, it was also a way for me to wiggle out. Because who would ask a woman to marry them? Like, this generation believes in like dating and, you know, let's stay with each other for a bit and stuff. Yeah. And I was just trying to, like, in my head, I was trying to play God. Like, God, this person looks like...
I was trying to do that.
God, this person looks like my husband, but I don't want to get married. There's no point of getting married. So if this person comes to me tomorrow and then asks me to marry him, then he's my husband. Which I almost could bet my life on that was not going to happen. And then I come on the 6th day.
Yeah, just hold on. That Tuesday, no, it was a Sunday. We started talking Monday, right? We started talking Monday. Tuesday, everything was cool. Wednesday, I got stuck on Lakers Ibadan train. Thursday was the day that I heard that thing again. This is it, don't miss it. Then I just went outside to go and pray. I was like, God, what? Just help me. Just help me. Because I've always said that thing that I'm never going to tell a woman God said. Because I've seen it. I know people who, like 4 or 5 men have gone to meet her that God said. So I'm like, no. So I was just praying that God just help me. And then that night, it was a Saturday. I just said, you know what? And it was a Friday or Saturday.
I think it was Friday.
It was Friday. I just, I said, there's something I really want to tell you. And here it goes. I don't know what this is. We've been talking for a while. I don't know what this is. But I want you to know that I'm in it.
Cheesy line.
I'm all in. That was what I said.
Yeah.
And my heart was beating. Like it was in my head. Like, that inside out, when there's chaos and joy has left the control center. That was my head. And then next thing I just hear, me too. I'm like, me too. I didn't repeat it, but in my head I was like, me too. I was just like, can we pray together? That was the first time we'd ever prayed together.
Yeah, we prayed.
And we prayed. It was like some 40-45 minutes prayer. Hot prayer. Like it was
Dimeji knows how to fire prayer.
It was hot prayer. Oh. And that was it. The next morning, wedding planning started. In my head, I'm like, what is going on?
Even with the wedding planning, it was insane. Because there was a guy that also messaged me at some point. He used to live in Canada. Now I think he's moved to the US. And he was like, oh, he wanted us to get into a relationship. We were talking about marriage and all of that. And all of a sudden, after a week, he came back and said, I'm sorry. I think my emotions got the best of me. Like, I don't think we can work together or something. Like, I'm a tall guy. I want to marry a tall girl. I don't think you're tall. In our family, we used to have big babies. You look tiny. I don't think you can carry a big baby.
Give me that guy's name. I can't find him.
He even sent us money for our wedding.
I forgive him.
So, when that happened, but the thing is, even with all of these excuses that he gave me, he did not tell me straight on, like, look, I don't want to have anything to do with you again. It was like, let's see, let's not see. I just even remember something funny. Our friends in Canada, they were even my first messenger. I made Larry to go all the way to deliver cake. Because they were living, I think, in the same province.
Yeah. Hey, goodness. Wow.
They're the ones I sent to go and deliver cake. I just remember that now. So funny. So, as I was saying, I was tired of his games. Like, I was tired. Like if you don't want something, go all out and say you do not want it. Don't be going round and round the corners. Anyway, I wrote a long epistle. And in that message, I told him that he cannot play games with me. Because me and God, we have a plan. By 11th of November 2022, I'm going to be getting married.
Woo!
Woo! The dates just looked nice. It just rang. He had a nice ring, 11/11/22. So I was like, I'll get married.
I mean, it's a really nice date, 11/11/22, right?
It is. It is. It was such a beautiful day as well for us. But like, that's why I said, I wasn't thinking deeply about it. Like, it wasn't even shortly after that I said I'm not even getting married again.
That one was a totally different story. Because I had known that date since 2017.
Yeah, because when I told you,
I was like, oh yeah, me too.
Oh, Lord.
And that date was even interesting. So for me to now be saying to people later in 2018 that I want to get Vision 2020, I totally forgot, right? But I had that date written in my very first Bible journal. You know, I was leading a fellowship then, and then it was just interesting.
This whole thing gets me very emotional, talking about, like when we talk about our journey, like where we started from, it gets me very emotional. It gets me very, very emotional because I'm just like, God, see, if you have sense, you cannot work with God, though. If you have sense, you cannot work with God. Because when we're talking about wedding, we don't even have the money for it.
Money.
And you know that at some point you now moved to Abuja.
Yeah.
And you were paying for
Airbnb.
No, not Airbnb. It was like a service apartment, which was really nice. And you were paying heavily for it. Like the money for that, where you even started coming from, safe. See, this is our life. Oladimeji, you made me stay on the cliff.
What do you mean cliff?
Like, it's like every day with you, I am learning and it's getting better, to be fair. Like just walking with God. Like some days it's like I'm on the cliff, like trust God or die. So many testimonies to share, like, but it's been a very beautiful journey. Like I would not trade this for anything. Like I would not trade you for any other man because.
Are you sure? You remember? You make jokes about billionaire husband.
See,
in his 40s.
In life, money is not everything. I've heard jokes about people saying that, and this is very dicey to even say to people, right? But I'm coming to a point where I understand that if you don't genuinely love the person you are with, you can't even share your money with them. And even if you share your money with them, I don't know how to explain it because in this marriage with you, you've just made me feel like Mope and Dimeji against whatever.
Whatever.
Like, it's not like we don't have our lapses or we don't have our shortcomings, sorry. We do. But I like how we just work as a team and like this other person is holding this other person up and both of us are like working to make sure that we get that problem out of the way or we get that thing solved.
Do you remember our very first Bible study?
Yeah. The triangle.
The God triangle.
Yeah.
And, it's just that there's God, there is you, there is me.
I should also say that I really love doing Bible studies, even though I sleep. I sleep all sometimes.
You're confessing.
Like last night when you were praying, I slept over me.
Yes. The God triangle. So there's God, there's you, there's me. That's, and it's the same story of how you can interpret Amos 3:3 in two different ways. Can two work together except they be agreed? The two is, the two people getting married, right? And then
becoming one.
When those two become one, there's now the one and then God working together.
So we have to work together.
And then the God triangle goes God, you, me. If me and God are connected and you and God are connected, but you and I are not connected, it doesn't work. If you and I are connected, you and God are connected, but I'm not connected to God, it doesn't work. It has to be me connected to God, you connected to God, and then we connected to each other. And that just gives you that,
See.
And anything, and there's this, family triangle, anything that tries to attack that doesn't really work. It's like that the threefold cord
cannot be broken.
And remembering all of these things
I should say it again that your Bible study is always so rich. Like,
no problem.
We're
increasing it to 3 hours.
I'm going to sleep off. But I really love studying the word with you because it just brings a new and a fresh perspective of God and of his word. Do you get? Like, which is what I was saying at the beginning, that being with you has been very transformative for me. Like, I know there are days where I'm like, oh, Dimeji is not helping me. But it's a lie. Like,
You know the interesting part? Those are usually around, I'm not editing your video, I'm not snapping your picture.
Like, you know what used to pay me the most? Maybe one Sunday, I dressed well to church. You now be taking Caraforo pictures. Like when we went to Belfast, for example, all those pictures were, and I wore new fine clothes.
They were, but the reason was because the phone died before we got there.
Oh yeah, the phone
and then
died.
It was crowded.
Yeah, we didn't find like a very nice place.
You know, and
pictures.
it wasn't the plan that we were going to, and then it got messy because you got there and what happened next? They said you cannot enter because of tickets. So
we missed our slots. But as I was saying, being with you has been very transformative for me. And it's interesting because as of 2020, I thought I was the best thing after bread, agege bread. What's that slang I heard today? I was thinking that was gushy. Not knowing that was agege bread. I don't want people to come and
what's
eat
the
correlation between Gucci and agege bread? It's just, I'm not phrasing
you
it
can
properly.
say, Gucci and table.
Oh my goodness. You just did not say that. You just did not say that. Oladimeji,
Table, forgive me. I want brand partnership.
So I felt like I was the best thing. I was growing in my career. Like, which growing? Yeah, any 1 million, yeah.
I mean, but so that's the thing.
It was good, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that I had
This myopic view of yourself.
it was myopic, but to me it was
grand.
It was grand. It was grand. You know, I was in a place where for me traveling around the world was the goal. Like my priorities were not okay. And it was fueling one kind of very weird ambition for me. Like I was just in a very weird place. But I thought I was okay. I had a lot of trauma then. And you dealt with more than half. Like things I did not know I had bottled up. Things I did not know that I had that was eating me, you know. But like with you, we spent the first year of marriage. Oh yeah, all the trauma. Be bringing it to the table. And I feel like for the whole 1 year, I didn't get a job. Or I was not doing what I wanted to do.
So to you, what did you want to do within that period?
Like when we moved to the UK.
Yeah, because you said for that 1 year, you were not doing what you wanted to do.
That's like, because for me, the first year, like coming to the UK, I wanted to travel around the world. My parents were not okay.
You keep saying that.
I can't really put it to words right now, but getting pregnant with Ire, and I feel like I was also very egoistic and I was trusting a lot in my plans, in the fact that I can map out a 5-year strategy. And for like because before we met, I showed you that diary now.
Yeah.
Where I wrote what I wanted to achieve within
5 years.
And literally everything was happening. So I was in that space of dream it, be it, have a mood board. So subconsciously, I was already removing God. And I feel like that's one of the things God really used you to do in my life. Like, first, there's a better life for you. But secondly, you have to lean on me completely if you want this better life. The only thing I'm grateful to God for is the fact that I was sort of obedient.
Yeah.
Like by force obedient. Like,
I mean, God said it, okay, I'll do it. It's not come from my heart.
Exactly.
But I'll just do it.
Yeah, because there was time I even told you that I don't love you. Like, I'm just doing this.
I mean, I think for the first year, there wasn't love. I mean, there was
not for the
care
first year.
and like
Not for the first year.
no, like meeting. You know, like it was like so.
Not marriage.
We met, and 6 days I proposed, and you know, a month later we had introduction, and then 6 months later we had
The
court
civil.
wedding, and then 9 months. It was just a 9 month period, and then that period
I didn't know. I didn't love you.
yeah, it was just okay. I'm obeying God. Let me just keep following. Let me just keep seeing what's happening.
Yeah. I feel like at some point I was going to be toxic.
Yeah.
Like I'll say things to you, I'll lash out.
And I'll just be there. I was like,
why were you like that?
So one, my dad is the kind of person that his humility is just, I can't explain it. He was a deputy controller for customs, and I would see him do things. I'm like, Daddy, you are. I was like, okay. So what? And then I spent a summer with him, and he taught me how to cook.
Yeah.
You know, we prayed together, we studied, we'll go around, greet people. So I just saw all of that, and I was like, okay, for someone of his pedigree to have this level of, okay, I need to do the same. But then God also said the same. Like, so I was coming from a place where I learned a lot, and then there was a point in my life where I was working for a pastor, doing the designs and all of that for him. But then he said he couldn't pay me, that he was going to pay me with, me being able to attend all of his seminars and conferences. And then I was hearing experiences of people who have been married 40, 50 years, share struggles, share things that they wish they did better. And I'm learning all that. I'm like, okay. So God was just putting those things in like me to start learning. And when we met, that thing of this is it, don't miss it, kept playing in my head over and over again. That I wanted to push myself to provide as much as I could, to do, like, go the extra mile, but at the same time, give this person this feeling of, okay, you're meeting somebody who is a son of God. Like, you can see Jesus in him. That wasn't the plan, or like, okay, be like Jesus, like, bragado and be like Jesus. But every day, can I get better? Every day, can I get better? So the things you were saying to me, to you, it was as though you were, punishing this guy or attacking him. But to me, it was a rod of correction. Like, okay. It was like hammer and chisel was just like, there's this thing that the sculpture and the wood, right? When you find this wood in the bush, one thing is happening. It's a log of wood, it's unrefined. But then the sculptor gets hammer and chisel and then starts to chip, little parts away till you start to see that ego come out. But occasionally, the log of wood can struggle and then a major crack appears. And what happens next? That ego or that lion that you were envisioning before, you need to actually cut away that lion and start looking for something else that can come out of this thing. So now you're going for, okay, let's make an ego out of this. The ego misbehaves, another crack appears and say, okay, let's make a dove. From lion who is bold and goes to ego who is soaring and then now you're not dove. You have to be meek and you have to be humble by first if you try and struggle. So I didn't want to get to a place where I would have to be held by force. So I just willingly surrendered it. So there was nothing anybody said to me that would make me rise. And the reason for that was because somebody told me. This person, as in, it was a madman. I was in the bus. I was coming down from the bus in Songo. And I was like, I was sitting in Yoruba. Out of nowhere. I'm like, why would this person say such a thing? And so I've had quite a number of encounters like that just sort of point out God has put so much in me, pride can be the downfall. I'm like, okay. There was even a time I wrote an ultimatum for God, like, God, anytime I do this thing again, just take me away. So I'm always very conscious. And then there are times where things like that happen and I'm just, God, help me to learn from this experience. Help me.
Yeah, because like I noticed that like for the past couple of months, would soon be, we're 2 years civil.
Oh, yeah. September.
July.
It's September. September.
We'll soon be 2 years civil. Yeah. And my love for you is growing every single day. I can't even lie.
That's why I cannot spend a day without me.
I can't spend a day without you. And like the experiences, so a lot of times we look at challenges as a bad thing. And I hate challenges. I don't want to start crying, but I hate challenges. Like when they come,
like they bring out the different color in you.
They bring out the beasts that I don't even know exist. But one thing here for me is that these days, even when challenges come, first, I'm confident that, of course, God is our anchor, but I'm confident in you. I'm like, okay, as far as the image is here, we're going to go through this together. Honestly, I should not be crying on camera.
It's alright. It's alright.
Like, for real.
You started it.
See, I can't even lie. Like, we did not plan our meeting. Like, God literally, like, orchestrated everything. And there's no day of my life that I've regretted it. Because, Oladimeji,
It's okay. It's okay.
The things you've done for us as a family.
It's okay.
I'm so grateful to God, though, that I just obeyed and I followed and I just trusted Him, because it's not easy for anybody to make a decision to marry somebody that they actually did not love. And it's not like you had assurance. If you had Bentley or Porsche, or you had one mother's villa, like, I know that at least I don't love him, but you'll be spoiling me with money. If that was the case, this one, you know that there's nothing. Really, that's how it felt at the beginning. And even like as the months when we got married, the months, I just started seeing things about this guy, like, Oladimeji will earn money. Is these days, like, I'm like, no, Oladimeji, keep this one for yourself. It's okay. He said, Mope, are you sure you don't? I say, it's okay. Keep it. You can remove your 2 eyes and give it out. Like, I don't want to start saying plenty things, but all I can just say is it pays to trust God. It pays to follow God.
Well, tea has finished.
My own tea is still remaining.
The tea has finished. Is my tea? What my tea finishes.
Honestly, I'm grateful to God for you. I love you so much.
Love you too.
I love you. 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 Which is the best gift ever. Best gift ever. I love you so much. And I want to continue to do this live with you. Don't worry, on video, this part will be off.